Of all the wonderful things that Agile coaches do, there's one thing that we don't do, or at least don't do enough of. That's this week on the Badass Agile podcast.
Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams.
Hello, friend. Pull up a chair. It's good to see you. I often feel like coaches and scrum masters are sitting around waiting to see what happens next. What I can tell you for sure is that hatching the next wave of Agile, in terms of getting a firm grip on what Agile means to an organization and where our place is in it, is going to take some fighting. It's going to take some work. And one of the things we'd be best served to do more often is spend time talking to the business. Before we dig into it, let's take a moment to remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works, relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There's so many resources out there about what you need to do to be agile, but we're focused on who you need to become in order to lead teams. So let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a truly unique and powerful force in this industry. If this episode helps you, share it with your friends. I often think that because of our heritage in technology, like me, having started around the advent of the personal computer in every home, and then of course the internet followed fast, that we grew up in our own incubator. We understand the language of tech. We appreciate the beautiful architectures. We marvel at the advances, and most importantly, our job is to embrace those advances, to give them legs and to convert new things into value for organizations, communities, or the world. That in and of itself is a noble job. But technology is no longer new. It's no longer special. It's no longer inaccessible, hard to reach or understand. It's within all of our grasp. And so what happens is the once high bar of entry is eliminated. Technology is basically part of daily life now. It's for everyone. Which brings us back to the original frontier, which is, what is business going to do with this? If you get paid to work with technology for a living, but that knowledge or those capabilities are no longer special, guess what? We're going to have to adapt. Communicating with the business is all about understanding what they do, but also what they need, what they struggle with, and what they fear. It's time spent speaking and learning their language, knowing what they're measured on and how they're doing against those measures. Offering up low-risk experiments to attack their goals and metrics daily. To us, the technologists, even the agilists, this still may seem foreign. It might be uncomfortable. It's an area where we're not expert. All of a sudden, we're the fish out of water. And that technical language, those technical skills that used to define our value in the marketplace, take a back seat to our ability to implement those technologies for the good of the organization. That's no longer someone else's job. We have to be active participants in that. When we sit still and pretend that it isn't, continuing to operate in steady state, playing like it's 1994, and just assuming, well, I still have a job, so I must be okay, that is extinction in 2026. On the other hand, when you have more frequent conversations with the business, you have a chance to, number one, stay connected to emerging news, concerns, challenges, victories, and failures. Having this up-to-date information helps you suggest and be part of the various pivots and changes that businesses are going through right now. Number two, you'll have more opportunities to showcase your value. Most people don't know what Agile is. Inside the tech sphere, yeah, but the chief marketing officer might not. Never mind operations or finance or people. Number three, more frequent conversations build familiarity that allows you to be top of mind if your particular role or job suddenly contracts or disappears. But more importantly, my friend, this is what leaders do. They commune, they talk, they offer to help each other out. Leaders are involved with the people that they serve. They're passionate about the business that they serve. They stay curious about what they can do, change, or improve for the benefit of the customer. Leaders develop their sense of instinct for client problems so that we can frame up and get to solutions much quicker. They stay visible and valuable. It's a game of chess. If you're not showcasing your value at regular intervals, then nobody knows why you're there. Have you ever told someone that you're an Agile coach or Scrum Master and have them raise their eyebrows and say, "I've heard of that, but I've no idea what it means"? That's a failure on our part, because if you're not establishing, reinforcing, and communicating your value frequently, it won't be long before someone starts asking, why is this person here? Why do we pay this person or this group, this team? Leaders also establish and maintain partnerships because they know that tech for tech's sake is one of the reasons we've lost relevance. And finally, leaders get more confident in having sales conversations, being competitive and ambitious, stretching into their fear zones. They're not comfortable with being an Agile coach by a 20-year-old definition of that role. The real leaders, the people who will survive and take Agile into the future, are the people who want more, who crave different, who see the change coming and realize we need to do new and better things in order to stay relevant. I'm known to say that we have to get the heck out of tech, maybe. We're kind of saturated in there. Freezer's full. Time to bring our skills and know-how to another area of the business. Now, I don't necessarily mean scaling because I do believe that scaling breaks at a certain point. But it does mean finding anyone in the organization, not just people building software, who would love to have some results in front of customers faster, who would love to make a change to a core metric more quickly, who see an uncertain future and want to start experimenting with ways and methods, products, solutions that discover and prove what will work next. It all starts with conversations. So how do you do it? If you're not comfortable having conversations with the business, if you don't know anyone in business, there's a million different things you can do, but it starts with an attitude. Be interested. Let's not be so smug and proud of ourselves. What we do isn't all that special. I think what we do is massively helpful. I think it's noble. I think it's a lot of fun. But we're not the only ones who want to feel that way. When you cruise the halls of the organization and you meet people, they're doing interesting, cool stuff too. And there's an excellent chance that we can help each other. So, if you meet people, make sure you're following them on LinkedIn. When they say something interesting or clever, make sure they know that you're out there, that you're watching, that you're following, that you're interested. Comment on their stuff, knock on their door, or send them an email saying, "I saw your post today. It was really interesting. Would love to have a chat about it. You free for lunch?" When you bump into people in the halls that you recognize, maybe they're product owners that you've served on a team, ask them what they're up to. What's new in your world? What's exciting? What are you working on that's fun? Invariably, they'll tell you something, and the minute something catches your ear, say, "I'd love to hear more about that. You free for a coffee? Can I pop by your office?" When are you free? At corporate town halls or other events, you can network. "Hey, my name's Chris. What's yours?" "I work on the 3rd floor." Yeah, where all the tech teams are. I'm one of the Agile coaches there. "What about you? What do you do?" You can ask to be involved in strategy sessions that normally no one would think to invite the Agile coaches to. This is one thing that the scaling frameworks get right. There needs to be some way for tech and business to sit together in the same room and talk about what's next, what's challenging, what's broken, where are we headed, what are we being measured on. Those forums are a great place to learn a lot about what the business is doing. When we do this, we become infinitely more valuable because we're tied to the hip with the business around the value that we drive. That's really what we're being measured on. That's what determines whether we'll be employed next year. So one of the new jobs of the Agile Coach is to stay more connected with the business. Think of what you do as a shared service, valuable to the entire organization. And one of your most important jobs is exploring ways, even if you stay nestled inside technology, of making their world better and helping them hit their most important objectives. You are no longer being measured on your process fidelity, your ability to facilitate, your wizard-like knowledge of a framework. Those days are gone if they were ever here. See yourself as someone who is aligned with the business, working together hand in hand to deliver on important outcomes, the kind of stuff that shows up on a balance sheet, the kind of stuff they talk about in stakeholder meetings. If you do this, you are instantly more valuable than most of your counterparts who just want to stay heads down, buried in the process, buried in the technology. As you can see with what's going on with AI, the technology is not the bottleneck. It's the speed with which we can safely, intelligently, and strategically implement that technology to bring about an outcome, whether that's savings on headcount, savings on cost, increase of speed, increase of revenue, or something else. You won't have eyes into that, and therefore will not be able to propose valuable solutions and collaborations unless you're talking to the business more. If you need to know how to do that, if you need the leadership confidence to make those introductions, to have those conversations, and to take those conversations forward and build them into opportunities for Agile to shine, consider looking at my Forge Lightning and Forge Genesis programs. Lightning is where we teach the leadership skill, confidence, focus, grit, resilience, and continuous mastery that creates unforgettable, elite leaders. And Forge Genesis is all about tuning that entrepreneurial eye, learning how to see and find problems, propose solutions, create offerings, and ultimately build a compelling brand. You can check them out at learning.fusechamber.com. You can also find me at badassagile.com or at the links in the show notes below. I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, stay badass.